Hello, everyone, and welcome to Therapeutic Tea Tuesdays podcast right here on Red Media Radio and YouTube. Yeah, every Tuesday I am super excited to join you because it gives me and a worthy women filled with wisdom an opportunity to inspire you, bring you closer to God through our testimonies. And
Mhm.
I'm so excited about this awesome woman of God who I met on Twitter, by the way. Which thank you to technology. Scarlett, would you go ahead and introduce yourself to our awesome audience?
Of course, of course. My name is Scarlet. People also know me as Gianina Nolberto. But if you've been in the game for a while with me, then you know me as Scarlet. I'm a former dancer. I am a thyroid cancer conqueror slash survivor. I love events, and I do things. I'm here to serve people. That's it.
We are so glad that you are here serving everyone. It is so appreciated.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Thank you for asking me to join. You know the story. We know the background to this. So this was full circle.
Yes. Oh, I'm so excited. So y'all know, audience, every Tuesday we gonna go. We gonna jump right in. Go ahead and grab your tea. Go ahead and grab your journals. We are about to have a therapeutic conversation. And Scarlett,
Yes.
first and foremost, how are you feeling this Tuesday?
I'm so good. So good. Work was work. It was working, but we're here now. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to everyone.
Oh,
How are
awesome.
you?
I am doing well. It is we got
Good.
nice weather, so I really can't complain.
Right. That's it. That's it. That's all we need.
Right. In our wonderful audience, we are going to call this podcast Scarlet Scars and Succeeding Survivor. All the four amazing S's, and it'll resonate with you as we talk about it more. And Scarlett, one of the
Yes.
things that you've been really transparent about, and thank you so much because other people could relate to this, is that you are a survivor of thyroid cancer.
Yeah.
Um, would you be so willing to take us down that journey of what that looks like? And I'm not even sure educating me and our awesome audience on what is thyroid cancer.
Yeah, of course. So, as I continue to heal, I'm still learning about it as well. So I'm gonna share the information that I do have. So my type of cancer was papillary thyroid cancer. So in my case, I had hypothyroidism and hyperparathyroidism. So my thyroid glands, my hormone levels were underactive, but my parathyroids were overactive. So they were producing too much calcium in my body while my regular thyroid wasn't producing enough hormone in my body. So, you know,
Mm.
your hormones is very, very important to your body. It helps with the weights. It helps you, with the carbohydrates, your calcium as well. So it's a very important gland. It's very small, but very, very mighty. So for me to have issues with that, my weight has fluctuated. My cycle has fluctuated as well over the years. So there was a lot of things that were happening in my body because of this disease.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow. That's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. And now that I look back at my journey, like I thought that I got diagnosed in 2021, but I didn't realize that God was doing stuff from as early as 2018. That he was like putting in the work for all of this to kind of come full circle for us to have this moment now. So
Wow. And how old were you in 2021 when you were diagnosed?
when I was diagnosed, I was 26, 26, 27. Yeah, 26,
Wow.
27. Yeah. So
Very young.
yeah, it was very, very young. It was a very weird time as well because I didn't understand what was happening and I didn't like that it was happening to me as well. And I also became very angry. But as I like prepared for this call and I looked back at everything, I knew that he was doing everything for a reason. So I know that in terms of like my revelation that I've had recently, I think that it started in 2018, as I mentioned before. And during that time, like I had that fall, I had like a very severe, like one of the worst depressive episodes I've ever had. And when I went to the doctor to go get checked out, the gynecologist said that it could probably be a mild case of PCOS. And she was saying,
Mm.
like, what's going on in your life? Like, what's happening? And, I knew that I had just moved into a new apartment recently. My relationship at the time was pretty rocky. And even like work was, I was making good money, but the work itself and the job itself wasn't ideal. So there was a lot happening at once. So that's what we thought it was. We thought it was just like a very, very stressful time in my life. So after I had after I spoke to that gynecologist, and we just said that it was mild PCOS, we kind of just brushed it off for a while. And then going into 2019, luckily the relationship that I was in ended. Unfortunately, I had to move out of my new apartment because of unforeseen circumstances.
Mm.
And like once you end the relationship, you get that reset. So in 2019, it was very much a time for me to just reflect and figure out who I wanted to be and how I wanted to um, move forward in my life and who I wanted to be with, and just more intentionality with even my spirit. So by the end of 2019, luckily I was in a new relationship, and I did like my first fast ever, which got me really, really close to God. And I even moved again to Brooklyn from the Bronx. I went back to my mom's house for a little while, but I couldn't stay there as I knew that it wasn't gonna work for me.
Mm.
And I knew that at that point, because everything else had changed, I knew that the last part of the transformation was my job. So I knew that by the end of 2020 that I was gonna end up either working for myself, finding a new gig, or something along those lines. So in 2020, that's pretty much what I started doing. I mentally prepared myself to start a full time business, Royal Goodies, my baby. And that February, I knew that I was like, okay, I can't do this job anymore. Like it doesn't make any sense at this point. I'm just gonna let go of this job, like everything else that kind of has already left my life. I just need to make sure that I do that. So uh, I put in my notice in February, and because of the work that I've done and the culture that I built in that company, I didn't want to leave in 2 weeks. I wanted to make sure that
Right.
they were fully set up. So I gave them a month's notice just to make sure that
Nice.
everything was like good to go, and they were the transition would be easy. We hired somebody that would be able to do it, because it wasn't just my job title, but the culture that I built as well. And I wanted to make sure that everybody was good before I left. So um crazy enough, the last day of my job was the day that the city shut down. So this whole time,
Wow. Wow.
right, this whole time, I'm like, okay, and especially in the beginning of the pandemic, I'm just like, oh, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Like the city's not going to shut down. Like, we'll be fine in like a couple of months. But I already knew that I was going to launch this new business as well. So I felt secured in that. So while a lot of people were trying to figure out what they were going to do next, I already had a lot of things in motion for the new business. So that June, I launched Royal Goodies, and we had a really good time doing that. And Royal Goodies is a self-care box for women of color, and I collaborated with different Black businesses to create the self-care box, and they had like a theme, and every other month was a different theme as well. So I work with different brands to create this good box for you to take care of yourself at home,
Yes.
because we had to pivot that as well.
Yes.
We couldn't go outside the way that we wanted to and take care of ourselves. So I wanted to make sure that we still did that while we were at home. um and then that November, I did my second fast, and I was like, okay, like if I can do this for 30 days again, like I'm gonna do this every single year. So in
Right.
2020, I did my second fast, and because I left my job that year, I had to let go of my benefits. So I had to make sure I kept up with all of my health things as well. So I had to get a new PCP, a new insurance. So I got Medicaid. That's the black card of insurance. I don't care what anybody say. Okay, we've got Medicaid. You can do anything
Right.
and get any work done. You don't have to pay out of pocket. So, um, So because of that insurance, I had to get like a new PCP and make sure my blood work was good to go as well. And I have a history of other health issues as well. So it was very important for me to maintain my health, to keep up with appointments, to make sure that I was doing the work to keep up with my health as well. Um, and when I went to that appointment in December of 2020, we did some blood work. We did a whole new line of blood work because they didn't have a lot of my history at that time. So I had to do all new blood work, and we had to just look at everything that was going on. So when I got my results that December, there was like a couple of red flags. So my PCP was like, okay, there's some concerning things. Let's pause for now. Let's let's redo the blood work in about 3 months to make sure that these levels are what they actually are, or if there's any changes. So I was like, all right, I don't have to worry too much anymore because she's not too worried. She doesn't seem worried. So when I came back in 2021, at this point, this is the new year, and this was also the first year that I decided to have like a anchor word as well. And the
Ooh,
anchor
okay.
word, the anchor word of 2021 was grace. So of course, like I was still doing royal goodies. Business was booming. We sold out a couple of boxes, a couple of theme boxes. The business was growing. Like I was having a good time. Like royal goodies was good, so I was good. So
Yes.
that March, we finally did some blood work, and my levels were still not great. My TSH levels still weren't too good. So she was like, okay, this might be something more than what it is. So
Mm,
as I was that was like the first time I was like, okay, she seems a little bit concerned, so maybe I do need to be concerned at this point too. So that after that appointment, I went home to talk to my best friend, and we just happened to be video chatting. And as I'm discussing with her like what the thyroid is, so I'm like talking about it, and I lift up my neck, and I was like, yeah, because my thyroid, and I like freeze, and I stare at the
mm,
camera at myself, and that was the first time that I noticed an actual lump on my neck. Like even when I'm like, putting lotion on, like I never felt it, but I saw it for the first time because I
right.
was video chatting with my best friend. If it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for her trying to understand like what was going on and me, explaining it to her, I don't think I would have noticed that lump, which my PCP just so happened to miss a few times. That's neither here or there, and that's also not my PCP anymore.
Got it.
So
Got it. Mm.
yeah, it was a very wild time. So after we did that second round of blood work and we got the results, and she was like, this actually might be cancer. Very nonchalant. Like my PCP was like, oh, it might be cancer, but we'll do some further tests and see. And I'm like, why would you say that? Why would you wish
Right.
that all my life, but that was the reality of the situation. So there was some work that I had to do. And shortly after that, she recommended that I see a ENT, which is a ears, nose, and throat doctor. And
Mm.
that appointment wasn't until June. So from pretty much like April to June, I was just waiting with the
Wow.
with the with the idea of it possibly being cancer, with me having this lump that I never noticed before on my neck. I was just waiting. And I think the waiting period is what really, really got me sick, because I had at that point, that's all I was thinking about. Like I was very difficult for me to even focus on my business because I was so concerned about my health and the possibility of it being cancer and what that would look like, what kind, what stage, and just like obsessing all over all of these small details. Um, because I just lacked information, and because the healthcare
Mm.
system is just not ideal. They make you wait for certain things, even when it comes to your health.
Mm.
So so that June, I finally make it to the ENT doctor. And that day, I assumed that it was going to be a consultation. So I thought I was just going over there to like get some more information and then figure out next steps. So when I get there, they're like, oh, no, this is a biopsy. So are you going to do the
Oh my.
biopsy today? And I was like, wait, hold
Right.
on. Hold on. I just found this lump 2 months ago. I'm still trying to understand what this is about. And we're talking about like a biopsy, like right now, like right here.
Right.
They're like, yeah, yeah, let's do that. And I'm like, okay, wait, hold on. And I just sat there for a moment. I was like, give me a moment. I literally called my pastor at that time. I was like, I don't know what to do, because I knew that there was a part of me that knew that it was cancer, but there was another part that was like very in denial, because that's not something that you want to go through at any age, at any point in your life.
Mhm.
You don't want to hear that word ever.
Right.
So I thought that in my head, I was like, if I don't do the biopsy, then maybe I can avoid the inevitable. And God was like, girl, this, this is gonna happen regardless. And shortly, a couple of weeks after the biopsy that I decided to do, because I was like, let me just get it over with. I'm already here. I'll probably have to come back to do it anyway. So I was like, let me do the biopsy. And later on in that June of 2021, I found out that I had papillary thyroid cancer. And
Okay.
yeah, even that moment, like the moment I heard it, I was like, huh? Like I literally was like, what? I didn't believe it.
Right.
I was
Mm.
so in denial. And at that point, they were like, okay, so when do you want to schedule the surgery? And I'm like, calm down. You guys just told me I had cancer. Give me a moment to process
It's
this. Give me a
process,
moment to.
right.
They didn't want to give me anything. So I ended up having to also get a second opinion, because I just felt like they were rushing the situation as well. And even that day when I was like going home, I was just sitting on the train. I was like, how many other people are on this train and they also got diagnosed today? Because you never really know what's going on in somebody's day. You just never
That
know unless they
is
share that with
so
you.
true. That is
Yeah.
so true.
Yeah, so immediately it kind of gave me a different perspective on more empathy, and I'm already a empathetic person, but it just gave me extreme empathy for people, because you just never know. You never know who you're looking at. You never know what their morning was like. You never know their situations, and allowed me to give other people more grace as well, along with myself. So it was a very very crazy journey. Like shortly after that, I isolated. I definitely went to I isolated a lot, because I just didn't know what to do with this information. And it even took me a while to share this with certain people as well. As I thought that me having this diagnosis would mean that I would no longer be able to serve people the way that I'm used to serving
Mm.
people. I felt like my power was being taken away for a very long time, very, very long time. So yeah, after the diagnosis, things just started happening. I tried to do a more holistic approach. I tried to avoid surgery twice. I just wasn't trying to do it, and but it still gave me a lot of time to read my Bible, to like focus on God, because I had
Mm.
to find a way to make all of this make sense, and it didn't. Like it just didn't. But I knew I didn't have anything else left. I had to quit everything that I was doing. I even stopped doing royal goodies, because I knew that if my emotional well being wasn't up to par, then I wouldn't be able to serve people the way that I wanted to serve people, even people that I didn't know through the gifts of the box. Like I didn't
Yes.
feel it anymore. Because even when I was packing boxes, I did it with love. I did it with intention. I was writing handwritten notes. Everything was very, very personal for me. And if I wasn't good personally, then I couldn't be good in my business. I couldn't be good for anybody else. So I had to take a step back from my norm and take a step back from the things that I was used to doing, because this was something different in my life. And again, like I've dealt with health issues before, but never to this extent, never cancer. And that just changed the game for me. And I became like extremely fatigued because of it. And I knew that I would always take a nap because I was always tired, but I didn't realize why. I didn't realize it was my thyroid that was doing
Right.
all of this, that was making me this tired. Like I just didn't understand it. So again, I like pushed the surgery. I was trying to go a holistic approach. I was deep in my word and trying to figure things out. And I felt that even in those moments of isolation, that God was like putting things in my spirit. So I just did a lot of writing as well. I started a blog. Like I did a lot of writing, a lot of reflecting, because I knew that this was a transformative time. I didn't want to look at it as, and I did sometimes, of course, but I didn't want to look at it as the end. I wanted to look at it as a new beginning. So I tried to
Right.
focus on that, because there was nothing else left. Like I couldn't, I knew I didn't want to stop living, but I knew that I couldn't live the same way that I had been living. So I just kept trying to adjust, kept trying to figure out like this new normal for myself. And of course, I did that fall of 2021. I actually got baptized again, and I swear to you, Star.
Oh, amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, it was beautiful, and I thought that that was gonna be my instant healing. I was like, okay, I got baptized. I don't have to get surgery. I don't need to get do anything else. I'm gonna be instantly healed. I swore that was the end of like my cancer journey, but of course of course it wasn't. Um, and then fast forward to 2020, I finally decide that I'm going to do the surgery, and I do it that February after I move into a new apartment with in my new relationship as well, my healthy relationship. And after that, uh, things just started shifting. Like I got this surgery, and that gave me a moment to get closer to my family. That gave me a moment to figure out like how I wanted to step into this world, how I wanted to show up in this world again. And once I got the surgery, there was some sort of relief, but I was also had to readjust again. Like I was there was a part of me that was like comfortable or used to this part of my life, even though it wasn't even a year, but I got used to it. I had to
Mm,
adjust again. I had to pivot again because now I don't have this cancer, thank God. But now I have to figure out what can I do? What are my limitations? Um, how do I show up with these limitations? How do I show up for myself with these limitations? How do I show up for my partner as well? And there was just a lot of things that I had to again pivot and figure out. So um, I thought that I thought that getting going back into work was the way that I had to step in because I accumulated a lot of debt at the time as well because I
it's
just wasn't working.
understandable.
Yeah,
Right.
it was a lot of I was working for myself, but after I stopped that, I didn't really have any income. So I had to get back to work eventually, and um, thank God, like I as I was looking for work, I typed in the word cancer. And I was just like, I don't know where it's gonna take me, but this is where I feel led to
Feel
do.
led
So
to, yes.
yeah. So I did that, and I eventually became the executive assistant of a cancer organization.
Ah,
Um,
congratulations.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that was about May of 2022. Um, and then I realized that I didn't really like being an EA either. Like I stepped into that position because that was something that I was familiar with doing, but I didn't realize the sacrifices and
Mm,
the sacrifices that I put into when I was healthier, when I had a lot more energy, when I had a lot more capability, and I didn't have that anymore. So it became a frustrating, even though it was something that I used to love, it became frustrating again because I couldn't do it to the full extent. But shortly after, in the fall or the fall of no the winter of 2022, I became the events manager of the company, and that was something that I feel like was also built for me because I had to give up a lot. Like I said, I serve people through events, and I do a lot of work through that. So that was something that kind of came back to me in a way that I didn't expect at all because I did a lot of work, for free, and I did a lot of work for people. So to now get paid and be an events manager to do events, it was just like, whoa, how?
now you're bringing me into it, my passion.
Yes, exactly. All over again, without even realizing that that was going to happen. He just did everything. He had his own like timeline for me. He had his own story for me. So I just had to be patient, and I had to wait for it, and I had to just understand that he didn't leave me alone at all, no matter
Right.
what I was going through. He was there. So he showed up. He continues to show up.
Ah, Scarlett, you said a lot of valuable information that
Yeah.
so many people could relate to. So first and foremost, let me say thank you for sharing your testimony. Second thing is, isn't God good?
All the time. All the time.
Isn't
All
God
the time.
good? So you are an overcomer of thyroid cancer. And sis, I want to tell you that I'm sending abundance of blessings your way,
Thank
that
you.
is never going to come back, and that you're going to continue to be healthy, feeling whole and in God, and most of all, that you'll continue the great work that you are doing with this cancer organization. And I like
Thank
what someone
you.
said, that when we go through difficult trials and tribulations, it's not happening to us, but it's happening for us. And the
Mm-hmm.
best thing that we can do is to get the help that we need and to get through it, and then to make an impact on others. So you being in this space with cancer, I think it's absolutely a beautiful. And then
Thank
figuring
you.
out, even you were in this role, now you're in a new role where you get to
Right.
put what you love to do, and it's just amazing. So congratulations to you, and I just
Thank
commend you
you. Thank you so much.
along this journey as you continue to advocate for cancer, and advocate on so many other things, because you mentioned things about our healthcare system that
Oh
could
yeah.
be shifted, us
Absolutely.
taking the time, us
Yep.
taking the
Slow
time.
down. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I want to know, Scarlett, during that time, did they offer you any coaching, mental health, to help you processing that you had that cancer? Because I think that's extremely important as
It
well.
is. It is. So, they didn't offer it to me per se because I had Medicaid. It was difficult to for me to get like my mental health care, especially because we're like still in the height of the pandemic, or the thick of the pandemic too. And there was just wasn't a lot of help out there. But because
Mm.
of some realistically, because of one of my other health issues, I also have retinitis pigmentosus, which means like the skin behind my eye isn't ideal, so my vision isn't the best. That's another story for another day. But because of that health issue, I had to see a specialist for my eyes, and in that building they have therapists that specialize in disease issues. So the therapist that I have now, she is very familiar with my diagnosis, and not to mention, I didn't even know this until she brought it up not too long ago. She's also a cancer survivor. So not only
Oh,
did I get someone,
wow.
yeah, like that. Look at God again. Like how did that
Yes.
happen? Like it was difficult for me to find the therapist for a very very long time. I get a therapist, and she's also a cancer survivor. So it's like
Mm.
he's always
He's
doing something.
intentional. Mm.
Always, always. And it was very important for me to get like that mental support because it was a lot happening, and I wasn't able to get it until it was like very late late after my initial diagnosis. But when I did get it, it came with a lot of relief because now
Mm.
I was finally able to talk to someone that can help me put my thoughts together, help me understand what I'm thinking, help me, just help me help myself.
Right, absolutely. And I'm glad that you're here to talk about it. And I think
Thank
it's
you.
so important. So I want to shout out to anyone with cancer, that we're just keeping you in prayers, and
Absolutely.
just to keep going. And I pray that Scarlett's her realness just touches you in a way to continue to get up and going, and to
Please.
keep praise God, and just to keep going and never give up,
Yep.
never.
You
And
can't. You
thank
can't.
you for bringing that realization, because we help each other.
Yeah.
And Scarlett, one of the quotes that I love that you placed into your Instagram account, which is extremely important, and it was awesome. And we're in the healing series of Therapeutic Tea
Yeah.
Tuesdays podcast, and it said, maybe you're not healing because you are trying to be the trauma
Mm.
that
Well,
person does not exist anymore. There's a
yeah.
new person you're trying to be, breathe life into that person.
Yeah.
Scarlett, when you think, and as you were posting that quote, and audience, I'm gonna call this our surviving audience, because we surviving over here. We've been through the pandemic. We some
Okay.
survivors over here.
Okay.
And I'm all for positive affirmations and having faith in it. As you were posting it, as I'm
Yeah.
reading it now, Scarlett, what does that quote embody for you?
So for me, when I saw that quote, I actually found that quote after I wrote one of my blogs, redefine, rebuild to redefine, or redefine to rebuild. Don't quote me. I've been writing a lot.
I
But
promise I
so in that blog, well, the main premise of that blog was to help people understand that every aspect of who you are, every decision that you make, every part of your being comes from something. You didn't come from anywhere, and a lot of it comes from trauma, unfortunately, good and bad. There's some good trauma, and there are some things that we go through that are good, that helps define our character, but there's also trauma as well that helps define our character and helps us, or not help us, but harm us in making decisions that we shouldn't be making. And I just wanted to use that to just allow people to realize that your trauma is not the end all be all. You can heal from
Yes.
that. You can come out of that as long as you're willing to come out of that. You don't have to be the person that the trauma has forced you to become. You can become somebody else if you make that decision. And that was a very, very big thing for me, because there was a lot of things that I was holding on to at the time that, will also make you sick. Trauma can make you sick. When you hold on to
Yes.
certain things, it's baggage, and it gets heavy. It gets very, very heavy. And sometimes you just have to release it. How? That we'll have to figure out together. That takes a lot of time to figure out the how, but it is necessary if you want to be a better version of yourself, which I think everybody should strive for.
Absolutely. Oh, that is so beautiful. And I feel like, you can be healed, but all through life we're going through our healing journey. So thank
Yeah,
you
it
for
doesn't stop.
posting. It doesn't. Oh my goodness. And Scarlett, as you were talking, one of the things that you mentioned, which is absolutely beautiful because I'm a Christian as well, your
Yeah.
foundation is faith. Tell us how important your relationship is with God.
I don't want to do anything without him. Period.
Amen.
Not anymore.
I
I think
second
that
that.
I think that he has shown up way too many times in my life for me to even deny his presence. I
Mm.
know that it was very, like, I grew up a Catholic, honestly. Like, I grew up a
Oh,
Catholic
really?
woman.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. But because of that was my parents' relationship with God. It wasn't my relationship with God. So
Good
when I
point.
got older, I did step into a Baptist church, and that was a game changer. Like, a game changer. Like, I didn't know that church could be that lit. Okay, like, I didn't understand. But because of that, I was able to find myself in him. And there were a lot of times in my life where I kept denying him, and I was very angry with him, especially at one point, because I lost, like, one of my brothers at a very young age. And I had to rebuild my own relationship when I got
Mm.
older, because there was too many things happening, and I there was no realistic worldly support that I could get. It just wasn't possible. Like, just couldn't get it in this world. It had to be something else, and it had to be spiritual in order for me to get to where I am today and the person that I am today as well. I had to trust someone else. I couldn't trust myself anymore, because my emotions are fleeting. My emotions are very, very fleeting. And
Right.
I can make emotional decisions, and I can
Me
think out
too.
of emotions.
Hmm.
Um, and that's not always the best decision. It's not always the best decision for you. So I had to find someone else to focus on, someone else to submit to, because I was in myself personally, I was controlling for my own life. Like, I wanted to control every detail of my life, but every time that I tried to control it, there was like one string that would get pulled and everything would unravel. Because I kept trying to
Mm-hmm.
do things on my own. And once I stopped doing things on my own and I gave it to God, I just left it at the altar, things worked out. Everything worked out. So I know, like, even our initial date of our conversation, that was like one of the first times where I was like, oh my God, look at what God did all of this time. Like, he just
Right.
showed me every single reason why things happened the way that it happened. And to be honest, that was the first time where I knew that there was no other choice but to let surrender. Like I couldn't
Mm,
hold on
love
to any
it.
part of it anymore. Like there was still different parts of my spirituality and myself that I was holding on to, that I was scared to give to God, because I was, it's very vulnerable. Like giving your all to God is a very, very vulnerable thing.
It
Um,
is.
and it's not easy sometimes. It's not easy
Yes.
at all, because
And you
there's some
are
things
gonna
that
get
you,
angry
yeah,
sometimes. Me too.
okay,
Yup. Yup. I
every
can
that
relate, sis.
exactly. It's not only the easy stuff that you give glory to God, you have to give him glory for the things that you're going through too, because it's part of
Woo.
your journey. It
Mm.
is. So I learned that in that moment when I was like reflecting on the questions and thinking about how I wanted this conversation to go. He just showed me every single thing from 2018 up
Mm.
until this moment, that I if it wasn't for me getting cancer, I wouldn't have this relationship with my mom. Like we wouldn't have gotten close, because we had like a not a strained relationship, but we weren't as close. And because of my surgery, we got super, super close.
Oh
Because
wow,
of,
that's amazing, sis.
yeah, we
Oh.
got super, super close because of it. So everything has been working out in my favor and in his favor. And I didn't know that until that moment. I didn't put any of those pieces together until I finally was able to sit back and look at every single thing, and was completely amazed by the work that he's been
Mm,
doing in my life. And
mm.
I
Won't
knew
God
that
show up and
this
show out?
okay every single time. So it's been an amazing journey with him, and I can't wait to see what my faith continues to do for me and my family as well.
Oh, first and foremost, congratulations on
Thank you.
building a better, healthy relationship with your mom. That's amazing. Shout out to mom
Yes.
over there.
Shout out to mom.
And with your family, and I think that is wonderful, Scarlett, and I can relate to you so much. That's why you're my new sister in Christ, because
Period.
if it wasn't for God, we wouldn't be here now,
Okay.
talking and transforming. And like you
Yeah.
said, one of the things that I really, really love what you said is I think a lot of people get angry at God when things go wrong. But I want to shout out, I can relate to you, because there's times I have got questioned, like, why, why is it so
Right.
much? But
Right.
I want to tell our surviving audience is that one of the best ways that helps me get through is just reading the Bible. And when you hear about Joseph or being in prison for so long, when you hear about Job, oh my goodness, audience,
Yeah.
the woman with
Yeah.
the issue with the blood. I'm just
Yeah.
bringing up some
Yeah.
Bible characters that I really had some significant tribulations. God
Mm-hmm.
always gets you through, and it's
Always.
always worth in relying on him. And thank you for bringing that out and being transparent, because I can relate to it so much. And I'm glad you're in a state now, and that you're building your relationship with your mom, your relationship with your family is good, and
Yeah.
you a survivor, and now you're advocating for cancer. It just all comes together. And that's because,
Yeah.
Scarlett, you took the time to say, I'm not going to sit here and pity myself and feel bad,
Right.
but I'm going to get up, let God do what he does, and go for it. So I'm so happy for you, sis.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And that, honestly, it's all him. Like all of it is all him. So now is the season for me to just share my story, because I know a lot of people
Yes.
need to hear it, want to hear it. There's still a lot more to the story that we can get into. We can be here for hours talking about it though.
Yes, that means you're just gonna have to come back to the podcast, because we can do a whole nother part two. That's just how we do over here.
Say less, say less.
Scarlett, we talked some about you, and you have this amazing royal goodies. And I know you took a break from it. Scarlett, tell us, what do you have planned? Is that coming back?
I needed to come back. I wanted to
Okay.
come back so bad. I'm just waiting for the green light. I'm waiting to hear from God whether or not I should and when I will bring it back, because I know I want to. It was a very amazing way to collaborate with different Black owned businesses, to build something and create something for Black women. It was just such an amazing experience from beginning to end, honestly. So I would love to bring it back, but I'm just waiting. I'm waiting for the sign. There's a lot of things that I want to work on as well. A Queen's Day In, which was my annual event, a self-care event. That's something else that I would love to bring back as well. But I'm just waiting to hear the go, because I know that because I'm the events manager at this company now, I'm in a season of learning again. So I'm taking that time to learn and to master my craft and my talent and my skills through events and doing it on a corporate level as well. So it's definitely a season of just learning and sharing what I am
Oh,
learning as I go. So I guess whenever I get the enough information after I soak it all up, then maybe I'll be able to or be ready to do it again. But we're
oh.
waiting for the signs. We're waiting for the signs.
I love it again because timing is so important us and us trusting the
Yep.
process. You may want something, but we have to go to God. Is this a good time? And what you're
Mhm.
doing right
Mhm.
now, like you said, the skills, the wisdom that you're gonna
Yeah.
take to do what you love and to get paid for it. And now, when
Whew.
the time is ready to do that, or even you know how God does even greater, or
Okay.
taking
Okay.
part of that idea and then you like, oh my goodness, I never thought of it. So I
Yes.
commend you, sis. Go ahead and get them
Thank you. Thank
skills
you.
and everything that you need. I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Thank you so
oh,
much.
Scarlett, how you mentioned something earlier too. You said, because I my word of the year is drive, and I'm
Ooh.
saying driving
Okay.
forward. We ain't reversing
Yeah.
backwards. We ain't staying stagnant and neutral, but we driving to
Mhm.
accelerate. Okay, into God's calling. So
Yep.
that's
Yep.
that's my word for this year, and your word of this year is reverence. Tell us a little about that word.
So you know what's crazy, shortly after and shortly after I posted that and I knew that that was going to be my word of the year, when during our initial meeting, I knew that I had two words. So it's actually reverence and revelation. Like that's the word
Ooh.
of
Mm,
2023. So reverence is
love it.
reverence in itself is just deep respect for God, but I'm also applying that to myself as well. As if I have deep respect for him, then I have deep respect for myself, and I have respect for my boundaries, and I have respect for my health, and I have respect for my loved ones, and just respect, deep respect all around. And revelation is just because every single every single time I think that I understand why God did something, he's like, "Oh wait, there's more." But did you
Right.
see this? He just keeps pointing things out to me, and I'm just like, oh wow, that's crazy. It's crazy. So it's been an amazing time just getting all of these revelations about not only who I am now and who I will be in the future and the
Yes.
things that I'm just working on. So it's been an amazing year so far, and we're still, still very early in the year, but he has definitely set this the stone um for sorry, he has definitely set the tone for what this year is going to look like. So I'm excited to keep hearing his voice.
Oh, I love it. I'm excited for you, sis. And I think those
Thank you.
reverence and revelation, oh, that's just giving me the chills because those are just some good words to take into
Yeah.
2023. And Scarlett, I want the audience to know you even more when I'm talking to you. And as I got to talk to you during a consultation, words that come to my mind is survivor. Words that come to my mind is succeeding. Words that come to my mind is
Hmm.
courageous, a woman of faith. If you had to throw in two more words about who Scarlett is, what would they be?
Goofy. Very, very
I
goofy.
love it. Love
Very,
it.
very goofy. I love having a good time. And another word that I would put in is, ooh, that's a good one. Um, Realistic.
Ooh, love
Yeah,
it.
realistic. Yeah, let's
Mm.
go with that one.
I love it. Goofy and realistic because we all need to laugh nowadays.
Okay. Gotta keep it light. Gotta keep it light. But you also
Right?
have to be realistic about what's happening, around what's going
Yes.
on and being realistic with the things that you can take at that time as well. So just being realistic about myself and who I am and who I want to be.
Mm. Oh, that is absolutely beautiful, Starlet. Thank you for sharing those characteristics. They truly are you. And Scarlett, where can we gotta have the audience catch up with you?
Oh
Where
yeah.
are all your social media handles so the audience can continue to connect with you, be inspired? If there's anyone, especially of women, thyroid cancer, if they want to reach out to you for
Yeah.
inspiration, what are all your social media contacts?
So you can find me on Instagram, the Scarlet Experience. You can also find me Facebook, the Scarlet Experience, and on Twitter, Scarlet Inspires. Scarlet with one T.
Yes. Oh, our surviving audience, make sure you check out the Scarlet Experience for inspiration, for motivation, for realness,
Okay.
and some laughs in there because you be having me
Okay.
laugh too. So,
Good. That's good. I'm glad. I'm glad.
oh, Scarlet, what are, and I always say this to our audience, what are some lasting seeds that you want to plant into our audience so they can water it and make it grow in this year of 2023?
Oh, this was such a good question. I think my seed is it's not crazy, it's God.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. There's some things where you're like, what? How? God.
Yep, that's it. But you know, you heard that saying, but God,
But God.
but God.
Exactly. Exactly.
Oh, I love it, Scarlett. Y'all heard her. She planted that seed. She said, God. So now you gotta go water it. You gotta go open the
Yep.
Bible or find out how good he is.
Mhm.
We just gonna
Mhm.
leave it at that. But
That's
God.
it. But God.
Oh, Scarlett, thank you so much for
Thank
joining
you.
me and showing up as the beautiful, faithful woman of God that you are.
Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. I'm so excited to hear this playback. I know that I'm a hype myself up when I watch this back.
I'm a hype up too. It was just your story, your inspiration, the giggles, and most importantly, your love of God and authenticity is just going to resonate. So, thank you so much. I had so much fun. I learned so much, and
Mm.
you inspired me also. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Our surviving audience, thank you for joining me right here on Therapeutic Tea Tuesdays podcast. We pray that this awesome interview, Scarlet,
Woo.
successful,
Yep.
succeeding survivor and scars, truly, truly bless you. Thank you for joining me right here on Red Media Radio. And thank you for joining me on YouTube.
Bye.
We want to tell you God bless you. And everybody on YouTube, Scarlett's information will be below. You know, I got to hook you up.
Thank you.
And we are sending, oh, my pleasure, sis. Thank you. And we are sending an abundance, I always say, an abundance of blessings your way.
God bless. Thank you.